Now the On Your Side forecast with Chief Meteorologist Scott Dorval.
Well, today temperatures were heating up and that smoke again was an issue. This is a view from the village cam at Meridian. You don't see the Boise front there, but as I put this into motion, notice how all of a sudden there it is. As the skies started to clear just a little bit, at least the visibility improving and the air quality improving slightly, still in the orange category, but I think there is some new smoke coming in, which I'll show you here in a moment. This is a view in the western sky. Last night we saw the sunset disappear right about here, but without the smoke plume, it only disappeared just barely above the horizon, as that's a smoke plume off in the distance there, tracking off towards central portions of Idaho. And speaking of which, I'm going to switch over the computers here so we can take a look at the smoke plume again. Notice here, the bright white clouds are going to the east. This is due east. This is the higher level winds going straight west to east. But you see this right down here? These are the lower level winds which are coming in strong out of the northwest. And I think this smoke right here could come right in and just fill the valley again tonight and just kind of resupply that smoke. And then we've got a big change, a big shift coming on in. I want to show you the computer model run. This is interesting now because here's where we're expected to be around tomorrow morning. And it shows that smoke coming into the Treasure Valley right here. This is the Treasure Valley. I'm going to push this ahead as we go to tomorrow afternoon. Now watch the general direction of the smoke. You see going northwest to southeast. Those strong northwesterly winds taking all of these smoke plumes here. See how they're arcing? Now they're starting to move northwest to southeast. You can see it up here in Washington, the big fire near Lake Chelan, tracking on the smoke, tracking on down to the south and to the east. As we push this ahead, now watch the general movement of the smoke here. It comes over. Now it starts rotating around from northeast to southwest, and then here you start to see it move back to the north. And this would be early Sunday morning, say 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. You see the motion of all the smoke beginning to move to the north. Just as I mentioned a couple of days ago that I think Sunday could be the day, and that may clear the smoke out of the Treasure Valley, which would certainly be some great news. Let's take a look at what's going on in the McCall area. Had some good air quality for a time during the day today, but then for the most part that did change as we got some of that smoke pushing on in nearby. So the air quality is back up in the moderate category. 82 degrees for the high temperature in the McCall area, and a little better visibility throughout Redfish Lake here as again the smoke has dissipated just a bit. It was 33 this morning. Here's again the top of Brundage looking down over the lake there. You can still see some of the smoke around. In the 80s now, 59 in Stanley. The wide view, or I should say the view of southwest Idaho, a fire weather watch and a red flag warning mean wind tomorrow afternoon could exacerbate the fire situation. It is likely to transport more smoke in from the north and west. This swirl right in here, this is the disturbance that's going to go by and sweep a cold front through. That's what will shift all the smoke down in our direction and lower our temperatures the next 2 days. And then the heat will build back in from the south and west, and that will tend to bring the temperatures up, but also take the smoke and shift it to the north. But first and foremost tomorrow, low relative humidities, dry fuels, and gusty winds will exacerbate that fire situation. Treasure Valley forecast coming up for tomorrow. Back into the 80s, still that smoky sky. Northwest winds 10 to 20. We'll get the shifting areas of smoke again, so we'll say areas of smoke tomorrow. Probably poor air quality again. 70s in Long Valley, 80s in Boise County. Gusty winds in many locations, but mostly in the Treasure Valley, while in the east central mountains tomorrow, Stanley, Sun Valley, temperatures in the 70s, still areas of smoke. It will get breezy on the Camas Prairie. My On Your Side extended forecast, temperatures cooling into Saturday, and then on Sunday I'm starting to really feel more confident that we'll get more blue skies around, but the temperatures heating into the upper 90s and a chance of some storms maybe by Wednesday and Thursday that could bring some dry lightning. And that is something we're going to have to watch as we move into next week. We'll keep a close eye on that. Let's take a look at this amazing photograph here and the I Contribute sent on. And this is a black-chinned hummingbird sent in by Dan Cook from Boise. What a great shot that is. That's a nice high-speed camera right there.
I was going to say.
If you've got a photo, you can send it into iContribute at KIVITV.com. I had to get rid of all the smoke pictures. There's just too many of them.
We've seen enough smoke for a while.
See some pretty pictures from Sunday if that holds out.
If it breaks.
It's starting to look good, and we'll keep you updated on that potential.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks. Okay. A new study sheds light on just how devastating the ongoing drought is to California's economy.
The University of California, Davis says the drought will cost the state almost $3 billion this year. Agriculture is the hardest hit industry, losing almost $2 billion of those. Almost 21,000 jobs will be lost and could be even worse, but the state's groundwater reserves have offset some of the drought's impact. Those reserves, however, are shrinking, leaving the 2016 outlook uncertain.
Keeping the water flowing to Las Vegas is the goal of a multi-million-dollar project that is nearing completion, deep under the area's primary water source.
It's pretty interesting. Fox's Jonathan Hunt takes us underground for a look at an engineering marvel.
To understand the severity of the drought in the west, just take a look at the so-called bath line around Lake Mead, the largest man-made lake in the country, fed by the Colorado River. Its water level has dropped more than 100 feet in the last 20 years and is approaching record lows.
The Colorado River is 90% of the water supply for 7 out of every 10 people that live in the state of Nevada, so we need to know that we have secure access.
So, 600 feet below ground and 3 miles along a dark, narrow tunnel beneath Lake Mead, engineers have found a solution, 7 years in the making, at a cost of $817 million.
Each and every time I come down with shock and awe. It is truly an impressive sight.
This is the end of the tunnel, and this is the critical point. Up above us, 40 feet, is the hemispherical cap. Think of it as a giant bath plug. Above that, the waters of Lake Mead. And in a few weeks' time, that plug will be lifted, and those waters will flood this tunnel.
And because it's quite literally at the bottom of the lake, it will guarantee water supply for thirsty Las Vegas, even as those sinking lake levels threaten to leave the 2 much older water intake tunnels above the waterline and effectively useless.
This facility will allow us to draw water even if Lake Mead gets to a dead pool elevation. That's the point at which no water can be released to downstream users. If that is to occur, Southern Nevada is still going to have access to its drinking water supplies in Lake Mead, specifically because of this facility.
So some 80 years after another engineering marvel, the Hoover Dam, created Lake Mead, American ingenuity is once again at work to effectively turn this lake into the world's biggest bathtub and guarantee it as a water source for decades to come. In Boulder City, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Fascinating. Still to come on Fox 9.
So will Iran be able to self-police as it inspects its own nuclear sites? I'm Kevin Cork, traveling with the president and Martha's Vineyard. I'll have that story coming up.